have my dad's jawline. I used to not have it when I was a kid, but then as I grew older and I developed and I becoming an adult, my dad's jawline, his genetics finally won. I don't mind it. It's a very handsome jaw. And I get a lot of compliments on it. A lot of people are like, oh, your jaw is so defined, you know? And I'm totally okay with that. I just like a nice slender jaw, you know? Sometimes I just want my jaw to be like a lot smaller. And also, you know, I'm always concerned about my head looking a lot bigger than it is or a lot wider than it is. So anyway, welcome to my channel. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Exis and this is my channel Exis Does. Hello. And I forgot my little tagline. If you ask me what I do on here, it is somewhere in between what it do, commentary, and my best. And today what I am going to be doing is the second installment of my new series, Hey Exis, What's on Your Mind? Yes, I'm so excited. I actually really like this series, and I was thinking the other day, you know, speaking into existence maybe, but I was like, hey, wouldn't it be nice if this turned into like a mini podcast series or a consistent podcast series, you know? My last Hey Exis, What's on Your Mind was about, I want to say, an hour and 46 minutes. That's podcast length. Normally, I don't like to edit videos of that length because it takes forever to get through and add imagery and sound and all of that. But I kind of like the idea that it was long form content. It's kind of something that if you're watching, if you're a spectator, you can have me on in the background while you work, clean, or just like dick around and do whatever. So I kind of like that idea, but I don't know. I feel like podcasts are so official, you know what I mean? Because they have the studio and then they have the microphones and they have the guests and they're asking like interesting questions and have really thoughtful takeaways sometimes, not all the time. Now that we've made podcast mics accessible to everybody, a lot of podcasts are a waste of time or just not that all the way there, I guess is a way to put it. But I don't know, I think it would be nice if this could be like a little podcast in some way, shape, or form, you know, with like episodes and seasons. I plan on doing this every week or every other week, just depends on what's going on in my life and depending if I have something to talk about, right? But I actually enjoyed the first one that I did last week, and I'm looking forward to doing more because I have so much on my mind. I have so many takeaways. The only downside is that sometimes I get a good chunk of my information from like TikTok, because that's where that's when the discourse like starts. Any online discourse that you want to discuss normally starts on TikTok, because you can guarantee, like, if you're a YouTuber and you want to talk about that shit, you can guarantee like 10 or 5 professional TikTok yappers have already discussed it. But I don't have TikTok anymore because I'm just not, it's just not it keeps me distracted and I really need to be focused and locked in, so, with other things in my life, so I just don't have TikTok anymore. So instead of using TikTok, I'll just get my information on YouTube, or because I have TikTok on my PC, so I'll just go on my PC and scroll through TikTok to see what people are saying on there. But I don't really have it on my phone anymore because it keeps me too distracted. As always, I'm moisturizing my face before I get into my makeup. This segment that I do, Hey Exis, What's on Your Mind, consists of me talking about things that are on my mind while I do my makeup. I'm starting off with my skincare. I just put on my Heart Leaf Toner by Anua 77+. And then I put on my Jumiso Snail Mucin 95 peptide. I hear that bean extract, or like black bean extract, is like it's the same thing like snail mucin, and it's vegan. I might consider that. It doesn't really bother me too much that I put snail snot on my face. I've kind of grown used to it, but that is something that does concern me from time to time. I don't want to keep putting snail snot on my face. I don't know. I'm not a vegan. It's just the idea of me putting snail excrements on my face is kind of weird. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about some more stuff, things I've been up to, things I've been interested in, things I'm pretty passionate about. And I don't know, maybe I might keep it an hour and 46 minutes long. I might keep it an hour. Maybe I might only keep it 40 minutes long. I don't know. It really depends on how I'm feeling. We'll see. But I guess one of the things I'd like to start off with is streaming. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about me streaming, right? Because I have changed my schedule. I'm on stream a lot longer. I'm on stream for like 5 hours instead of like 2 hours and 30 minutes. I'm starting to see a little engagement on Twitch, but like I said, I'm not really surprised that I'm not getting a lot of engagement at all because, to be brutally honest, like, I'm new. I don't have that big of a following yet. So it's going to take some time to get people and to get traction onto my platforms. So I started gaming. Yeah, I went back to gaming again. And something I noticed while I game is that I am horribly unentertaining. I am just not that entertaining when I game. I don't know what it is. I get too focused on the game. I started playing the Walking Telltale series on stream. I made it through episode 1 and episode 2. Now I'm on episode 3. And like, if you were to tell me like a week before I started playing these types of games that they would be incredibly difficult for my level because they would require you to look around and look at things to click on, and you'd have to like use some puzzle knowledge, right? If you were to tell me they like I would have made it difficult, a Telltale game that is like point and click, QQQ, right? Like hit the keypad here, hit the keypad there to keep the zombies off of you. I would have been like, you are lying. This game is not hard. This game is not difficult. And girl, yes, it is. I streamed last week or yesterday. It was Wednesday for 5 hours straight. And oh, when I tell you that we're on episode 3 of The Walking. So we're on the train. Spoilers, skip if you don't want to hear. In The Walking Dead, you have like a group of people that you congregate with and build community with to get to Savannah near the water to ensure that like zombies aren't gonna be there, aren't going to attack you guys. I guess that's the goal. It's set in Georgia, which is pretty rich, but the series, to be fair, the series and the comic were set in Georgia as well. And we're in Macon, and we had to take a train, a beat down train down to Savannah, Georgia. And so when I tell you, it took me about 30 minutes tops to figure out what the fuck I needed in order to get the instructions to turn on the train, because I didn't know I had to go back into the trailer, get a pencil, do that little rubbing technique that Clementine learned at school when she was back at the motel and drawing over those leaves to figure out how to turn on the train. Like when I tell you, and then Kenny asked his wife Katja to his son because Duck had gotten bitten, which was probably the worst decision because Katja ended up offing herself anyway. And so now Kenny is like just distraught, right? Like, you know, I probably low-key tweaking right now. And so now we are at the part where there is a truck in front of the pathway, the railroad of the train. So we can't move until we move the truck, and we found some other survivors. And so I have to go into the railroad station, girl. That's where I left off, where I had to walk into the railroad station and figure out how to get in. And apparently the little UI at the very top, because like the door to get in is locked. You can't push it open, you can't pull it open, it's locked. There was no UI indicator to let me know that at the top there's a window that you can click on that will allow Clementine to go and crawl in. I had to look it up myself. So we spent 30 minutes dicking around doing nothing. I tried to ask everybody for information. Ben Dunn told us that he was the one who was stealing supplies and sending it off to the bandits, which, to be absolutely fair, I can see why he would do that, but I don't think it was the best of ideas because the bandits were going to attack the motel anyway. We kicked Lily out. Lily done shot Carly, girl. It's a mess. And the whole time I'm like so focused on the game that I can't give any commentary, that I cannot be entertaining. I don't know what it is, but it's just I'm not there yet when it comes to being entertaining while gaming because I'm too focused on the game. The same thing happened with Marvel Rivals, and so now I'm just like announcing places that I need to go, but my gaming streams are actually boring, and I need to figure out a way how to make them exciting. I don't know if I need to start playing Among Us and like chat with people online and be like, no, he's the imposter, not me. Meanwhile, I'm the one who's, you know, all types of people, right? Or I don't know if I need to play like Fall Guys. I don't know if I should move to Persona 5 because I actually like Persona 5. I like the music in that, and I've played it before. I don't know, in order to make the games go a lot faster, if I should just like look up guides on how to do what and get to where, because I do like a Telltale game. I like me a good Telltale game. It's just that I'm working on being more entertaining for gameplay when I stream. You know what I mean? I don't want to be boring, but also at the same time, like, sometimes I just get so focused in the game. So that's something that I'm probably gonna work on. I'm also having sound issues, so I'm gonna spend the remainder of this weekend before Sunday figuring out how my mic sounds, because it's a good quality mic. There should be no reason why the volume is so low. So I got to figure out what's going on with that. And then I also have to figure out a way how to put my chat overlay on the display. So if anybody is messaging me either from YouTube or Twitch, they can interact with me and I'll see them and all of that. I'm also getting a lot of bot advertisements on Twitch that's like, hey, you're a new streamer, connect with me so I can give you fans, join my Discord, which I hear is a scam, and those are annoying. But I don't know how to ban people yet, so I'm just going through the motions, just doing my best. I feel like such a boomer auntie, but it is what it is. I'm open to trying new things. You know what sucks? I got this one size Secure the Sweat primer a few weeks back, and I'm already running out. I don't like that I'm running out because their primer is really good. I might have to buy the whole thing, like the big thing, but it's like $40 to get this thing, like the big size, the regular size. So I don't know, but I like to go in with my e.l.f. Power Grip Primer plus niacinamide and the one size sweat, because I do have like oily to combination skin. So that's what I'm gonna do before I actually get into the actual makeup. Something that I will say is I do enjoy streaming a lot. I think it's fun, and I have a funner time when I'm just yapping, like it's easier for me to talk about shit randomly when I'm just yapping. I do find it a little difficult from time to time to like keep things up or find things to talk about, but I really enjoy it. I'm having a good time. If you'd like to join my stream, we are now streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 8 p.m. usually. Sometimes I get in there later and it's like 5:30 to 10 p.m., right? Or Fridays, and we'll test this. We'll test the waters of this. Maybe like 8 to 12 p.m. or maybe we'll do it a little earlier, 4 to 8 p.m. I'm thinking for this upcoming stream, because I'm going to be streaming on Sunday. I think I'm just going to read Reddit stories. I really like the content creators who have just been out here reading Reddit stories and giving their commentary. I think it's hilarious. So I think I just might do like a Reddit story Sunday where I'm just live streaming myself reading Reddit stories and giving commentary. But yeah, girl, your girl is not good at video games, and I never really have been, and that's okay. But I gotta figure out a way how to be more entertaining. I also hear that there isn't so much of a demand for video games as much as there is a demand for like just chatting creators. So I don't know. Gotta balance the business with the passion, I guess. So anyway, moving on. Okay, so I didn't write this in my notes, and I actually don't have my notes open, but a couple weeks ago, Saweetie went on a podcast and talked about like her music career, the trajectory of it, and I guess potentially why it's like flopping. One of the reasons why it's kind of high key flopping in the highest of keys. And she blamed it on Pretty Punishment. That's according to her, what she said is that the reason why her career hasn't taken off in the way it did is because she is being punished because she is pretty. Yes. That is the argument that she's going with. And I'm gonna be so real right now, because we've been having these pretty privilege discussions and discourses for like God knows how freaking long. This has been like the new thing since we've entered in the 2020s, is talking about pretty privilege, who has it, who doesn't have it, who I would argue Saweetie actually kind of started the conversation and started the trend on like how to get pretty privilege, who has access to pretty privilege, who doesn't, all that good stuff, right? Okay, so I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but conventionally attractive people need to shut the fuck up. They just do, because I could kind of get on board with it when we were talking about, how like the constructs of pretty privilege, you know, a creator on here, you know, she made a whole video that went viral and kind of low-key took off in her content creation career, talking about how she does not have access to pretty privilege and how she's okay with that sentiment, which sparked a whole bunch of controversy amongst like pretty people and like non-pretty people, amongst men. Like it was a whole mess. And like my whole thing is and always will be, let people speak their truth. It's okay. They're allowed to be open and honest to how they feel about like what they have access to and what they don't have access to. You know what I mean? So if she feels like she doesn't have pretty privilege, like then that's how she feels and like that's her truth, you know? But it started getting kind of annoying and a little obnoxious when conventionally attractive people started butting in the conversation and playing the oppression Olympics and being like, well, no, I actually suffer too, though. I suffer from the downside of pretty privilege. Yes, there's a downside to pretty privilege. It's not always sunshines and rainbows over here, you know, because girls are jealous of me. Men think that they can always have access to me. You know, everyone's just jealous of me and just hates me. Like, it's just hard out here. Here's the thing, okay? Because I made a whole video about this and I stand 10 toes down on this as somebody who has been in spaces where I wasn't really considered all that pretty, and as somebody who has been in spaces where I am considered, you know, conventionally attractive, okay? And now I've kind of accepted when I put effort in, because right now I look like a chunky potato right now. When I put effort in, I would say, yeah, I do have access to some version of pretty privilege, okay? There's never going to be a downside to pretty privilege. I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know who needs to have this talk, but there is never going to be a downside to being conventionally attractive. Okay. I need you to be honest with yourself. You will always benefit from being hot. Almost always. Beauty is currency. People are transactional, unfortunately. And the more attractive you are, the more people are willing to respect you, unfortunately. We haven't reached this age in society where people are more neutralist, where they care about like the content of your character than like your actual like physical appearance. We haven't reached that point yet. I don't know if we will reach that point because beauty also is kind of dependent high key on like our current society. Whenever I say society, I feel like I'm being so performative and pretentious, but I'm not. I'm really not. I'm talking about legitimate society. You know what I mean? Our world and our environment runs on attractiveness. Those who are attractive that we aspire to be, and those who want to obtain attractiveness. You cannot sell products unless you are like hyping up like a specific like beauty standard, right? Commodifying beauty makes it easier for you to sell products, to bring money in, to peddle specific standards of beauty that will always shift and change and will be harder for people to obtain, right? What I'm trying to say is that, where is my, not me losing my, oh, here it is. I thought I lost my brow gel. Yes, I still use Anastasia Beverly Hills brow gel. It's still top tier. To be conventionally attractive means that you have the privilege. There is no downside to you having a privilege, right? Like I've said this before, okay? Just like when we say like with white privilege, right? When we used to say like white privilege until the woke brigade came in and started labeling everything as woke, like the white privilege thing, people who are white can't sit up here, who have this privilege, right? Can't sit up here and be like, well, I suffer too. Well, I struggle too. And like, yeah, you like, no one's saying that you don't suffer and no one's saying that you don't struggle. We're just saying that like you will probably gain resources and you'll probably benefit from the system more than people of color. That's all we're saying, right? The same goes for pretty people. You know what I mean? I don't know. I find it funny and I find it weird that people don't like to apply the logic of privilege when it pertains to them, but will actively choose to apply the benefit of privilege towards people who have it when they don't. You know what I mean? Like, for example, in queer communities, some folks will say that like, you know, bisexual people will benefit the most from, have the most privilege in those spaces, which means, you know, maybe they should kind of like sit back and let like the non-bisexuals, the woolahs, the gays, the non-binaries, the trans folks, maybe just kind of have their little moment and not try to impede on it and do a Betty Who or a Fletcher, I guess, and act like you being bisexual is worse struggle than actually being gay, you know, like being in love and strictly in love with the same sex, right? And it's like bisexual people fail to understand or notice that because you are both attracted to the same sex and the opposite sex, you get significant amount of privileges, right? Because you can kind of pass in society if you marry off someone of the opposite sex. That's what they teach us in school. That's what heterosexuality is, right? But when you're in spaces where people specifically just like the same gender, like you are not more oppressed than them, right? Just like what we're seeing right now with a bunch of men over here, like, we're having a hard time, we're struggling, society doesn't respect us, wah. And it's meanwhile like, Kyle, you could literally walk anywhere you want in America and no one is going to perceive you as doing any type of crime whatsoever. No one's going to profile you at all, Kyle. Okay, apply for a job and more than likely hiring recruiters will probably reach out to you and be interested in you and not profile you in a way where they have like assumptions about you or preconceived notions about you based off of what you look like. You get significantly more privileges than other people, that, you know. And I feel like when we start peeling back the layers of different types of privileges that people have, people don't want to get intersectional and just want to sit in being in the struggle Olympics of, well, I struggled too, I went through this too, this is also affecting me as well. You don't struggle as a person if you have pretty privilege. You just don't. Okay, even if you more grim circumstances, if you were to get assaulted, right, people will more than likely believe and side with you being assaulted than somebody who is ugly. Okay, just get out of your own ass for a second and be okay with the fact that there are some privileges that you have that other people don't, and just learn how to be an ally to those people who don't have those privileges. And so with Pretty Privilege and Saweetie going on this podcast saying that she's being punished to be conventionally attractive, couple things. Okay, first of all, it never made sense to me as a consumer of music. I don't make music. I'm not musical. I'm none of that, right? I'm more artistic, drawer artist than I am like a musician, okay? And so I never understood when a new rapper stepped in the game, and it was always with female rap, right? And their whole brand and their whole shtick of who they are and how they're going to market themselves is that they are conventionally attractive and they're pretty, period. That's it. Like, I never understood that branding at all whatsoever. And the reason why is because almost all of the women in the female rap space have got like the prerequisite before you're even considered to be pushed out into the mainstream is that you are conventionally attractive. Even if you get into hip hop being unconventionally attractive, right? Or not as like, you know, by the hip hop standards of what is considered attractive. So like Cardi B, Doja Cat, you know, and mind you, I think both of these girls were pretty before the surgery and after, but they had to go under the knife in order to present like a version of attractiveness to that genre, right? I still consider Doja Cat hip hop, by the way. So, or even like Doechii admitted that she had a BBL. Like, you know, being attractive is a part of the requirement of being a female rapper. So I never understood when artists like Saweetie would come out and be like, my whole brand is that I'm attractive and I need a rich guy to support me because I'm a pretty bitch and pretty bitch music and meh, right? Like, I never understood that because it's like every single other girl is rapping about the same thing that you're rapping about better, and they're attractive. So like, what else do you have? You're from the Bay and you like to sample old school California's Bay music. Like, okay, that's cool, I guess. Sure. Everybody does that now. So then what else do you have? And the same kind of goes for like Ice Spice too, because her whole brand as well was like, oh, well, I'm pretty, I'm attractive, I'm a girl's girl and I'm pretty. And it's like, okay, outside of the orange afro and talking about farts all the time, what else is it? Like, do you have anything else? Like, at the very least with Ice Spice, you could identify her with the orange afro, and you can identify her because she's always talking about like poops and shit and farts and all that other dumb shit, right? But like, you have to be conventionally attractive in the music industry space to even be considered as a woman. You have to be hot. You have to look good in that space. I think it is a very dumb branding strategy to base your whole brand on you being hot. Everybody's hot. What else do you got? You know, like, at least Cardi had an entertaining personality. Doja Cat makes pop music very well and can integrate that into rap music. Doechii can rap her ass off. Perfect case study in good branding, by the way, with Megan, because she is she's from Texas and she got the whole Megan knees thing for a second. We're all like, how do we get knees like Megan and ride the dick like Megan? You know what I mean? And then she had like her interest in anime and she started doing cosplay stuff, and all the cosplay nerds were like, oh shit, you know, like Megan's over here cosplay, she's just like us, you know. And then she has like other little things like her being from Texas and cowboy stuff. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, there's a really good set of brand and uniqueness in Megan. She's working with K-pop. Why do I sound like a Megan simp? I'm not trying to sound like a Megan simp. I'm just being like very transparent here, because she's like one of the strongest rappers when it comes to marketing. The other strongest rappers when it comes to marketing, or at least with like vision and eras, that I would argue would trump Megan's, honestly, is like Doechii, because Alligator Bites Never Heals, even before Alligator Bites Never Heals, she's always had a good understanding of what her vision for her era is. And so when the Alligator Bite Never Heals rollout happened, the fashion started to reflect the rollout, the energy started to reflect the rollout, their performances started to reflect the rollout. There was like genuine, well thought out structure for the Alligator Bites Never Heals era. And on top of that, Doechii's attractive. So like, no, you cannot just use the brand of you being pretty to push your music and then do like pretty bitch music, whatever. The reason why Saweetie got blacklisted, I guess, from hip hop, if you can even call it that, is because Saweetie isn't that talented to begin with. Saweetie never was that talented. She's always chasing the beat. The recycled early 2000s Bay Area beats are tired. Everyone's doing that now. Everyone's recycling old sounds, old samples. So that was tired. And then on top of that, you know, the music just wasn't that good at all. Like, it never was good. I think of like Best Friend, that song she did with Doja Cat, and how Doja Cat high-key saved that song. That's my best friend. That's a real bad bit. The reason why she got blacklisted from the hip hop space was never because of Pretty Punishment. And I need pretty people to just take a step back and understand that, like, y'all are not oppressed in the same way that ugly people are, in the same way unconventionally attractive people are, okay? Like, y'all are just not oppressed, and I need y'all to stop acting like you guys are. You're not, and that's okay. Not everyone has to play the struggle Olympics. Just work on being an ally, and that's for everything, right? Not something as mundane and stupid as pretty privilege, because these conversations about who has pretty privilege, who doesn't, and who has access to it and all of that is getting pretty dumb at this point. Like, if I hear one more Pretty Punishment bullshit argument, I'm about to like cringe, okay? Because you sound dumb. What we need to do, we need to like stop sitting and like wanting to struggle all the time and just learn how to become allies. And this is for anything that we're a part of, that we have privilege in, right? If you benefit from Eurocentric beauty standards, you know, be an ally for those who don't, you know. If you benefit from colorism, be an ally for those who don't. If you benefit from your race or your culture, be an ally to those who don't have that or who aren't a part of your race or culture. You know what I mean? Like, just be an ally. The whole girls curl conversation pushes towards, I think it's just girls speak for wanting to be an ally or learning how to become a better ally to your friends, to marginalized people, to people who are struggling in the world or who have a harder time or who get disrespected often. Like, stand up for them. You know, stand up and defend them, you know, like, stop sitting in you struggling too and like deflecting the situation when you so clearly have way more benefits than other individuals. Like, it's getting pretty pathetic now. All right. And no offense, but it's also giving Mean Girl a little bit. It's giving, people don't hate you because you're conventionally attractive. People hate you because you're a bitch. Yikes. I know. Yeah, get it together. All right. Like, not everyone wants to hear you complain about being attractive when they've had a bad day at work, or when they're going through a divorce, or when they're like going through friend or guy troubles. Like, people don't want to hear about how hard it is for you to get free drinks at a bar. And if you're doing a girls' night out and you see like men are getting, you know, you drinks and like ignoring your girlfriends, just don't be that girl to ignore your friends. Like, include your friends. Be like, get drinks for me and my friends. I'm out here partying with everybody. Just learn how to be an ally, please, okay? These pretty privileged conversations are stupid as f***. They're stupid as f***. They're vapid as f***. And it's like the same privilege that Saweetie says that she got I guess, discriminated against for is the same privilege that she was able to benefit from. So like, get it together, girl. Like, just work on making better music. They even put that girl in boot camp and she wasn't even able to get it together. All right, there's no downside to pretty privilege. Stop lying to folks and saying that there is. Okay, stop getting on the internet and being like, woe is me, my life is so hard. My life is so hard because I'm conventionally attracted. Because girl, it's not. It's real. I promise you it's not. Okay? Now, if you want to talk about the intersectionality of it, especially with women of color versus non-women of color and pretty privilege, sure, let's have that conversation. But like, don't sit up here and act like your life is so hard because, you know, you're hot. It's not. It's not. Okay? Like, okay. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so AI. One thing I will yap to the ends about on my stream is AI and how creepy it's becoming and how trusting people have become of it ever since it's evolved. Because AI really hasn't been like as prominent as it is. Machine learning models, MLMs, haven't been as prominent as they are until like 2022, I believe. That's when layoffs happened and tech giants were like, yeah, we're moving to AI, right? I believe AI didn't like really take off the way it needed to until like 2022, I would say. So it's only been out for 2 years. We've seen platforms like ChatGPT be incredibly successful, OpenAI be incredibly successful. We've also seen other little like small MLMs where they're like chat bots where you can actually talk to them, and in some cases you can talk to them like they are like your favorite character from a franchise. Like if you want to talk to Bulma from Dragon Ball Z, you can have a chat bot that pretends they're Bulma and you can just talk with them, right? For all the perverts, I don't know if you can have inappropriate conversations with the AI, but like you can still have conversations with it, right? So we've pretty much evolved. We've even had social experiments like the AI girlfriend, which we saw how that happened, how that panned out, how a bunch of men basically abused their virtual girlfriends. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I hate it here. Like you can't even treat a virtual girlfriend correctly. You can't even treat like the virtual made up girl of your dream correctly, bro. Get some help. This system isn't working for you. Get some help, my guy. Like Jesus Christ, God. We've seen a big evolution in AI over the past couple of years, and we've also seen a lot of people rely on AI heavily in the past couple of years. Like be willing to forgo all means of logic in the past couple of years at the hands of AI, something that I've noticed, which is insane to me, right? Good examples of this, I'll be right back. I gotta get a package. Makeup wipes to make my makeup removal a lot easier. I hate removing makeup and then I have residue like in my eye crevices and then my eyes itch. A good example of how AI has gone a little like ape crazy, I'll give you a few. First and foremost, the most popular one, the girl who fell in love with her psychiatrist. Using the AI model to kind of confirm the bias that she had about her being in love with her psychiatrist and the psychiatrist that she claimed allegedly like led her on and put her through some sort of abuse. Grade A example. So there was a content creator or TikToker that had came out and had said that her psychiatrist led her on and groomed her to be in a romantic relationship. And as she's talking about the details of what happens, one thing that everybody noticed, or at least I noticed, is that she was very entrenched in like therapy speak. You could tell this woman has gone to therapy before several times with the way that she was talking. That is one thing I definitely noticed, and the way she was just using different words to kind of explain what she was going through. As she continues on with the story, most people online on the internet started to turn against her because it sounded like this psychiatrist had no interest in her whatsoever. She kept things pushing forward for God knows whatever reason, probably because she wanted to be with him and that's what she had idolized in her mind, right? And then on top of that, when people did start to push back and say, well, no, this dude did not want a romantic relationship with you, you kind of like took it on your own to make it what it was. He was just doing his job. I guess later on, She goes to confirm her bias of her being groomed by her psychiatrist to a chat bot or an AI bot, who then I guess proceeds to call her the Oracle and live streams the whole situation of what's going on TikTok, to which a bunch of people, a bunch of sound people, because some people just saw it and just like cackled and just watched the dumpster fire occur, right? But some people were like, okay, so this woman is going through a psychotic break right now. Like, she's genuinely crashing out. No one is helping her. Where is her family? What is going on? We should step away from the situation. We should just let this fizzle out the best way it can, and we should not be over here, cackling and laughing at this girl literally using a machine learning model to confirm a bias that she had towards the psychiatrist who was not attracted to her, after the whole internet told her, like, girl, no, like, this dude wasn't attracted to you. He does not like you. It seems like you read the messages wrong and you were being a little too abrasive, and he backed the fuck off. He did not groom you. None of this shit happened, right? And so now she's going to AI to confirm that, like, this is exactly what happened. And why did it happen? Because AI told me it did, and we have to trust AI. And that's the problem, right? Here's my take on it, right? AI is not the be all end all of knowledge. It can't be. AI is like a computer. You feed it information and it gives that information back out to you. This should not be news to any of us, to a lot of us, all right? I've had people say that AI is like some demonic entity out here set to control humanity and to let in like demonic deities and all this other BS crap. No, that's not what it is. AI is a machine learning model. Whatever you feed the AI, it's going to regurgitate back to you. Whatever you don't feed it, it's not going to regurgitate it back to you. So if you are feeding the AI like, hey, I'm going through this situation with this psychiatrist and he isn't answering my phone calls, he isn't talking to me intimately, he isn't doing all of these things, isn't this psychiatrist an asshole, yes or no? The chat GPT, it's probably going to tell you, oh yeah, definitely an asshole. Yes. You know what you should do? You should go on TikTok and explain to everybody why he's an asshole. That's exactly what ChatGPT does. It tells you what you want to hear based off of the information you give it. Okay? It is not some be all end all oracle. And then what tends to happen is the more information that you give and the more pattern recognitions and the more information it gets, it will start feeding you out generic answers based off of all the information that they've accumulated that other people have gotten out as well, right? AI isn't an oracle. MLM models / AI models that call you an oracle or call you like a genius are lying to you because you probably spoon-fed it information that made it hint at you wanting to be called a genius, okay? You got people out here committing legitimate crimes, unaliving folks based off of the advice of AI. Literally telling you what you want to hear, not telling you what you need to hear, not an actual person, a licensed professional being like, no, that's wrong. Don't do this. You should probably do that. Hey, we're going a little too far on the wayside. Like, do you have somebody to contact you to kind of talk you out of this spiral? Hey, stop, right? If you think that you are Tony Stark Jesus and you found a new math equation and you feed that to the AI, that's what's going to tell you, okay? Y'all got to stop, okay? And by y'all, I don't mean my audience. Y'all got to stop looking at AI as like this be all end all answer, as some demonic entity, as some oracle of truth. No, it's literally feeding back information to you of like whatever bias you've already had to begin with. If they are not a genius, they aren't the be all end all, they aren't like trustworthy knowledge, okay? AI messes up, AI gets things wrong. I think it is incredibly dangerous that people are so comfortable in trusting MLM models in like lifestyle choices, lifestyle decisions, advice, and all that other stuff. I think that is incredibly dangerous and it's incredibly harmful. What happened to thinking for yourself? What happened to, well, how do I feel about the situation? What happened to, let me ask my homie what they feel about the situation before I go to a robot. Anything computer-wise, anything technologic, okay? Like, it's going to feed back to you what you put in, all right? It's not an actual person with thoughts and emotions that is like truly convinced that you are the second coming or that you are a Tony Stark genius. All right. Like, I find it dangerous that so many people are willing to trust the opinion and beliefs of an MLM model without trusting their own like bias, their own truth, and their own reality. Right. I find it dangerous that people are willing to trust the MLM, trust them in a way that they would trust a romantic partner, a love interest, or even a best friend, instead of like not actually talking or communicating with people. I find that incredibly dangerous, and I find that scary. Y'all need to stop putting all your trust and all of your faith in a piece of technology, because it's not correct. It's going to mess up from time to time. Okay, it's only going to tell you what you want to hear so that you will keep using it. These tools are supposed to be used as like a supplement. They should not be used as a replacement. Okay, if your AI is calling you Jesus or God, you need to take a break, because something is happening, and y'all got to talk to people. Okay, talk to professionals, talk to people. Don't be up here talking to machine learning models. Okay, because it can get as grim as like people, you know, unaliving other people. Like, it's happened. People have unalived themselves in the name of ChatGPT. So yeah, it's getting weird out here. And for me personally, I feel like because I'm in that industry, I feel like I have to learn how to use it, but I don't trust it. So I don't know. If I had to learn how to use AI, it would probably be like the ethics of it and the regulation of it, because it needs to be regulated. If people are now almost immediately, less than 2 years of its like debut, believing that that these models are factually correct and right, and like losing their whole entire mind interacting with these things, they need to be regulated. There needs to be ethics. People need to instill those. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. Next topic. Doja Cat dropped V today, as I have this horrible nose contour. Yes, but Amala Doja, she dropped V. She dropped her, I think this is her 5th studio album. Let me see if I remember. So there was Amala. Let me look this up. Scarlet was her 4th album, and now we're on her 5th album, V, right? Anyway, V is amazing. V ate down. Doja Cat is probably one of the most prolific pop artists that we have in our modern music landscape. Like her, hate her, love her, loathe her. It's just a fact, okay? No, Doja's that girl. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, she's that girl, okay? I know some people don't like her because of some of the problematic things she's done in the past, twerking in group chats with incels. Weird. Wearing t-shirts of Nazis, also very weirdo behavior. Very on like Daniel Caesar coded. I don't know why she wants to, I don't know what's going on with her. Personally, I think it's like her trying to deal with who she is as a person, as a woman, because she's not like black, but she's also not, you know, white too. And so she's kind of coming to terms with that, I guess. I don't know, girl, but hopefully she gets over it. But like, here's the thing, Doja is it, all right? And V proved it. I'm a big Doja Cat fan. I'm probably gonna go to the tour. One thing y'all need to know about me is that I love me a nice retro, lush, lavish, Miami Vice, 80s mob wife Scarface soundtrack production. I got vaporwave playlists up the wazoo. Vaporwave is one of my favorite music genres. Okay, I love me some vaporwave. I love me a retro sound. I love when the 80s retro saxophone player sounds like they took a dive underwater and they're playing. I love that sound down. A better example I guess I can give you is Lush Cran. That TikTok sound that would play every time those AI generated images of like 80s penthouses were shown in like a collage, right? That's another example. I love that sound. And I think it is so genius that Doja really like hit that sound like on the nose, because I have yet to see, outside of the trailblazers of that sound when it was popular in like the 80s and 90s, right? I have yet to see any artist really lean into that niche. I thought that was just such a niche aesthetic. Like that was just like, you know, a part of like the vaporwave scene and a part of like the, you know, online like niche hyper specific subculture scene. I didn't think that like an actual artist would really tap into that Prince, I like to call it Apollonia, 1980s, 1989, you know, Prince type of sound, right? And Doja did it perfectly, girl. She did it perfectly. That album so far tastes like Starburst to me in like 1993. And I wasn't even born in 93. I was born in 94, okay? God, she did such a phenomenal job with that album. Some of my favorite songs off of that album so far are Cards. Jealous Type is okay. I think it's a good, like, it was smart for her to release that album as like her first single. Gorgeous is amazing. Gorgeous is gonna be on that Billboard. Gorgeous is that girls song that you play when you're trying to hype yourself up. I like the music video. I saw the music video today of how she had all of like the most popular models of today's era pose like they were 90s or look like they were 90s and 80s supermodels. I thought that was awesome. I like the idea of it being like this creative, a Revlon commercial straight from the 90s. I thought that was great. I loved the song Take Me Dancing with SZA. Something I noticed about Doja and SZA is that they have an incredibly good working relationship with each other. Like, they work very, very well together. They bounce off of each other's energy well. Whether it's Doja on a SZA song or SZA on a Doja Cat song, they know how to make a hit together. If they wanted to do a joint album, I would be here for it because both of them really understand music very well and understand how to slide on a beat and slide on a feature. You know what I mean? I compare it to like Cardi B and Megan came out with Together Was WAP, and that did very, very well. But then when they came out with Bongos, it was okay, but it didn't have the same impact as WAP. You know what I mean? It's like they were trying to duplicate what made WAP successful without like adding anything new and fresh. Whereas like Doja Cat and SZA, like we have Kiss Me More, and Kiss Me More high key sounds like, you know, a continuation of Say So, but with a SZA feature, right? That song's good, you know, and it works. Then SZA comes out with her album, SOS, and then she has Kill Bill, and then she has Doja Cat on the remix, and totally made that song, like, I wouldn't say better, but like just embellished that song a lot more with the storytelling that Doja Cat had on her verse, right? And then after that, we have Doja Cat comes out with V. And then she has SZA on there again and Take Me Dancing. And it's just sliding on the beat of that feature. Like, I don't know what it is about those two, but they never should like fall out with each other because they actually make good music together. They make really wonderful music together. But oh my God, V is it. V is the moment. V is the reason. V is that girl. Okay, that's probably going to be one of my favorite albums of the year, arguably. Okay, and the year is almost over, so yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, this is probably gonna be one of my favorite albums of the year. She really did her big one on that, and I have to give Doja all her flowers for that. And you know, I can understand why people aren't a fan of her, but I always use this argument. Some of y'all will jump through hoops, leap, do gymnastic level performances of leaps and bounds to make excuses for your faves, even though you know they're absolutely awful people. Okay. And I don't know. At this point, it's like respect the art, not the artist. I like Doja Cat down. I don't like the fact that she isn't nice to her fans. She isn't. She don't like them people. She don't. But like, she just makes good music, bro. So like, it is what it is. She's probably gonna go in history with one of the greats because this is like her 5th studio album. I'm excited to see how she evolves as an artist like 5 years from now. You know what I mean? So props up for Doja. So I'm thinking of doing like a bold eyeliner and then doing like a black lip liner with like pink lipstick. I don't know. I'm feeling very edgy today. Edgy. I want to see what Lipstick Snob looks like with my black lip liner, so we're gonna give it a try. I also found out that the black lipstick that I do own, it's from Sephora, this is the only black lipstick that I have, is too cool toned. It does not look good on my skin because it's too cool. So I need to find a warmer toned black lipstick. If y'all know what type of warm toned black lipstick is out there, let me know in the comments because I can't wear this. This makes me look washed out. So I gotta find something better. Okay. So next topic. Okay, so Peacemaker, all right. I've been watching Peacemaker, the 2nd season, and I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. I think he's one of my new favorite superheroes. I love Peacemaker. I love John Cena as Peacemaker. Peacemaker reminds me of like a failed Captain America to me. I don't know how that like formulates in my mind. Captain America reminds me of the idealized version of what we want America to look like, and then Peacemaker reminds me of what Captain America probably would look like in American culture today. I don't know if that makes any sense. I just like the idea of him trying to subvert and trying to avoid walking into his father's footsteps of being a bigot. And so in him doing that, he sacrifices so much of like his notoriety and his, accolades in order to do so. He is an underdog through and through who I believe probably trusted the system way more than he should have, only to get pennies in return. And I think that James Gunn's version or interpretation of Peacemaker does a very good job in that and really explains like what a realistic version of a American superhero would look like. I guess people like to compare Captain America to like veterans, right? And that's like an ideal version of what how we should be treating our veterans. But I feel like Peacemaker is a realistic version of what veterans probably go through. I don't know if that makes any sense. I used to love Homelander down from The Boys. I was like, oh my God, he's such a creative superhero. And then shit got real politically, and now I'm just like, don't like Homelander. Like, I don't like him at all as a person. It gets creepy when life starts imitating art. I just don't like to romanticize like brooding, like awful people anymore. And I feel like in lieu of romanticizing someone like a Homelander, who's like, he's still a really good villain. And when I say romanticize, I mean like in awe at how good his villainy is. I don't like him as a person. I just think that he's very well done as a superhero villain, right? But at the end of the day, I just think Peacemaker is just a much better, well thought out version of what it means to be an American versus someone like a Captain America. Like the realistic version of what it means to be an American. And that's just my humblest opinion. Like, you can disagree with me, that's fine. I think the series is great. I think you guys should give it a watch. I really like the opening sequences when they all do a dance together. It feels like an Office skit, like the Office skit. I think that's really funny. I think John Cena is a great cast for this. Like, he just seems like a very genuine and honest and respectful guy, just very humble, very sweet man. And yeah, I don't know, maybe we might see an era of like DC having a little renaissance after this, because Marvel hasn't been hitting. Marvel has not been hitting at all. Marvel has been flop pink with an extra ink. Okay, like, I watched Fantastic Four. It was good. Like, Marvel fans are always, they're always gonna hype up Marvel, right? But I mean, it's just, it gets to a point for me, I guess, where I'm just like, we know what's gonna happen. We know how this is gonna pan out. I'll probably tune into Marvel again when they get to the X-Men, but I think their greatest run was with the Avengers, right? I saw like bits and pieces of Thunderbolts, and it's okay. I think Florence Pugh as Yelena, I like the way Florence Pugh looks in the movie. Like, I like her hair and her makeup, but I'm like not really, I don't know, I'm just kind of over it. High key, I'm just really over it. It just feels so commercial with Disney. It doesn't feel genuine anymore. I don't know. But yeah, this is a perfect opportunity for DC to come in and like make some really good quality superhero movies. And I think they're in the right direction with having James Gunn, make these miniseries like Peacemaker. He did an excellent job with Suicide Squad sequel, probably one of my favorite movies, hands down. And then I heard his Superman was good, and that there might be a Supergirl movie coming out. So I think he's gonna do a really good job with DC. I think he's gonna save DC a lot. So yeah, that's just how I feel about it. That's just how I feel. Okay, next topic. Megan Thee Stallion. I be talking about her a lot. I promise I'm not on her payroll. I like Megan. I think the reason why I talk about her so much is because she does a lot of good things well, that even if the music isn't taking off the way I guess she would want it to, or the way we'd expected, she has so many other things to fall back on because she has such a marketable personality. You know what I mean? And she's a nerd and I'm a nerd, so that's pretty cool. That's cool. I like that. But Megan is suing the pants off of Aiden Ross and DJ Academics. Good. I love that for her, because apparently it has came out that they had been embellishing the truth of what happened to Megan on the night of the Tory Lanez debacle with her and her friend Kelsey, right? And then on top of that, have been also paid by Tory's team to lie on Megan about her lying about Tory her, which led me to a couple concerns and call outs. Okay, so number one, if Megan is able to sue and successfully get like a payout, right, from these men, right, who have like lied on her, this not only means that like these dudes are wrong, but this also means that the court of public opinion has been taken way too far when it comes to the internet. Because I would argue that both DJ Academics and Aiden Ross have made an active effort to have the whole internet, or their side of the internet, turn against Megan for no freaking reason other than collecting a check. And that would also lead me to believe and be convinced that artists like Doechii that I saw Aiden Ross come for, he don't really care about Doechii in the way that I like he's putting on to care about her. Because I remember like him going off on Doechii and saying that she's a horrible person and has a nasty attitude and is entitled as at the Met Gala, and it just felt so fabricated. Like, it felt very extra. I don't know, dude. You're just not going to convince me. You're not going to try and convince me that Aiden Ross actually cares about the antics that Doechii gets into, you know? The other question I'd have is, why is this white boy so infatuated with someone like a Doechii does? Like, don't you want to go listen to Yeet or something, right? Like, that's just weird. So it confirms to me that a lot of these people are probably getting paid to say these things, which isn't anything new. Bloggers have been doing for years. Now it's just moved into a different arena, which is streaming. But I think what is really shocking for me is that people are just like believing these folks willy-nilly. You know what I mean? Like, back in the day, like they're doing the equivalent work to like the National Enquirer in the end of the cash register at your grocery store. And we've been taught that we shouldn't believe anything that the National Enquirer says because it's a load of shit. But no, because they just yell loud enough and they're passionate enough and they have, you know, more than enough followers, underage followers allegedly, that they groom in Discord chats, they're like, no, what they say is right. And now you got a bunch of 14-year-olds out of the blue saying, free my boy Tory. What do you know about a Tory? Aren't you too busy playing Fortnite? Court of public opinion is scary as it is scary, because if it does come out that Tory's team did pay these men to lie on Megan's name, that means that we really need to be careful who we get information from in the internet space. Because some people are literally out here collecting checks and radicalizing your brain in the process, allowing you to be radicalized and have heightened emotions on the internet while they sit in their nice 10-bedroom mansion apartment getting a nice fat juicy check from a celebrity's team. Okay, like, holy shit. I hope Megan sues the pants off of both of those men. I hope she drags it out nice and long and runs their pockets dry. I think a lot of bloggers need to realize that you can't just say whatever the you want online and lie for clicks and views and for money. Like, you just can't do that. Tasha K had her ass handed to her from Cardi B. Now she's still bankrupt to this day. Cardi B still over here with her hand out like, where's my money, bitch, right? Like, y'all gonna have to learn how to keep your mouth shut or how to not sell your soul too much. And by y'all, I mean successful content creators who are in those spaces, who are getting those fat, juicy checks. You guys gotta be careful with that, bro. You gotta be careful, because you could be out here collecting a nice, juicy check from somebody's team, thinking that, you know, what you have is fact, when in actuality, the truth has been embellished to be not what it is, right? And you're over here telling lies, and now you're being sued for defamation. Like, you gotta be careful, okay? Because it could cost you some money. It can. And people don't care. They don't care. Like, especially when people have money, they will run you dry. They will run your pockets ragged if they have to. They do not care. I hope we all learn from this, in my Tyra Banks voice. Learn from this. I never had to yell at a girl like this in my life. Just be very careful of the information you're consuming online, because some people really do have ulterior motives. Some people are literally being paid off. So, yeah. Next topic. I wish I had Jennifer's money. Keeps me alive. Okay, so I know last week I said that I was reading a lot of books, okay? I'm also reading a lot of comics too. I have a video coming up about all the books I read, and I talk about how I like to read my comics in parallel to my books. And so, yeah, I've been reading a lot of comics, and I want to say a couple things. First of all, I got back into the Sonic comics girl, the Sonic comics are going through a renaissance. One of the reasons why is because a lot of the fans of Sonic who like grew up when I was a kid, they're older now, and so they can really go in and give like the TLC that the Blue Blur needs in order to have a successful like comic book franchise. All the characters are written very well. I like the dynamic between Whisper and Tangle. I think that is adorable. Everyone's like, they're roommates. You know what I mean? But even if they're not, like, I think they're adorable as friends, you know what I mean? I love the way Amy Rose has been written. And everyone go, if you ever see Tyson Heese in person, go give that man a handshake or ask for a hug, because he has been doing wonders with the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Ever since he took the reins on the movie after that ugly Sonic the Hedgehog movie came out, and then the whole studio got laid off, unfortunately, and he came in and he was like, not on my watch, in my Yanla voice. Ever since then, Sonic has been winning left and right, and I just love that for him. I love that for my little blue guy, for my little Blue Blur, because it was a minute, okay? It was tough out here as for a Sonic fan for a hot little minute. It was really rough, okay? I was over here fighting for my life in spaces, trying to defend this blue hedgehog, okay? Because Sega was playing in our faces. And you know they were playing all the way in our face. They were just, what was it? Sonic Forces? Where you could create your own OC, girl. And like, I shit. I used to do shit a lot as a kid, but I was like, this is, like, the game is bad, girl. Like, just have him go against Eggman. Eggman is always the big bad. Why are you introducing new villains? Why does he look like a Persona stan? What the hell is going on? Like, oh my God. I am just so happy that we've gotten to a point where Sonic the Hedgehog is good again, and people actually appreciate the franchise, and it's not considered like some like cringe ass redheaded stepchild to fandoms, you know what I mean? But yeah, I would definitely give the comics a read. They're pretty good. Tyson Heese does a really good job with a lot of the work he's contributed to the movies. And then surprise, surprise, concept art for the third movie has been released, and they showed an image of what Amy Rose is supposed to look like in the third movie. And oh my God, Amy, girl, she looks amazing. She looks adorable. Oh my God. Her little strap up Converses, girl, she about to eat down. I think I might dress up as her for the premiere, like a baddie version of her. I'm not going in like full cosplay, you know, but oh, I'm just so happy. I feel vindicated and seen as a Sonic fan. Anyway. Okay, so speaking of cosplay and stuff, a good chunk of y'all who still like used to follow me in my cosplay spicy swipe worker days, like a lot of y'all used to know me as like spicy cosplayer girl, okay? That's what you guys used to know me as. And you know, sometimes I'll be asked like, hey, do you still do this anymore? Do you not? Like, where did you go? Because after my old accounts had gotten hacked, I just like never returned to that IG. I never returned to that space. I just kind of got tired of it. Something I realized when you do over sexualize yourself, it gets tiring, it gets boring, and it just like unmotivates you. Like you start like operating like a robot low key. But that was a decision I made, right? And I'm having more fun just existing like this and just like talking to you guys. It takes longer, granted, you know, I'm not really showing cat and titties and all of that, but like I'm having fun just interacting with folks and interacting with the few fans that I do now that I'm trying to build my brand from the ground up again, right? But I do miss cosplay from time to time. I did cosplay last year as Morgan from Darkstalkers. I don't know why I said Morgana, but I did cosplay that and I had a really fun time cosplaying her. But I just miss cosplaying sometimes, but I'm probably not gonna do it anytime soon because I got bills, girl. I got shit that I gotta take care of. I got grown women shit. Not to say that you can't be grown in cosplay, right? But like, I don't know. It's just like I'm in a different headspace right now, and I'm more like I gotta pay bills. I gotta pay off debts. And I really, like, my time can't be given to building costumes anymore. I can see myself, like, building off of, like, pre-bought costumes. I did that with my Morrigan cosplay last year, but I just can't see myself, like, building costumes from scratch for a while. It would be nice, and I'm speaking it into existence, that, you know, somewhere down the line, maybe I have a separate channel of me just like walking through building stuff. And I would like to get into 3D printing where I can like paint masks and like create props. But just right now, it's just probably not going to happen anytime soon. I just got a lot of other stuff to worry about right now. And honestly, like for better, the culture of cosplay has changed from when I got into it, because it was very like, you know, gotta make everything handmade, and you know, it felt very inaccessible, I guess is a way to say that, because like if you weren't a certain size, or if you did not look adjacent to or were a certain race, like it wasn't as inclusive as it could be. And I feel like my generation of cosplayers, when I got into it, we made an effort to make things a lot more inclusive, which ushered in a new generation of cosplayers where, you know, they cosplay in their own special way. They cosplay with curly wigs. They cosplay with their own natural hair. They don't worry so much about accuracy as much as they worry about vibes and the essence of the character, which I always thought that's what cosplay was supposed to be about. But, you know, it can also be like a glam competition too, and a beauty contest as well. It just depends on who you're hanging out with. But yeah, I can see myself getting back into it eventually. I just don't think it will be anytime soon. And I think it'll probably be when I'm way, way, way more secure in myself, I guess is a way to put it, where I'm more financially secure and I have enough time for me to get back into that hobby and do that type of stuff. So I went in with this black eyeshadow, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't like how heavy it is, because I really wanted the eyeliner to pop this time around, but it's fine. It is what it is. I gotta work on my blending skills. I'm not like the greatest makeup artist, by the way. Like, I'm not a makeup artist, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's fun doing makeup on my face. What I really hate about putting on makeup is the removal, because sometimes it can get very itchy if you're not careful. Ooh, let me put on some spray. It's about time to spray my face. But yeah, I like how it looks so far. Next topic. Okay, Dana Terrace and Knights of Guinevere and Glitch, the name of the studio that created Knights of Guinevere. Okay, so let's do some lore real quick. Let's do some lore before we get into the show, Knights of Guinevere. Okay, so Dana Terrace, the creator of Knights of Guinevere, originally got her start on Disney, creating a show called Owl House. I have not watched the Owl House, so all I know is that she created the show, right? Apparently something happened between her and Disney where like they didn't continue the show, or they had to discontinue the show, or the show prematurely ended. I feel like she just got disrespected as an artist working for Disney, as Disney does, right? Like, they're known for exploiting artists, right? Fast forward, show has ended. There has been an announcement by Disney that they are creating an animated movie that has a similar premise to the Owl House, where there is a teenager who is placed into this like mystical fantasy land and is going on this grandiose journey within the course of 90 minutes, right? And then he has like the help of, I don't know, like some senior mentor or something like that. The premise is very similar to Dana Terrace's Owl House, okay? It's basically what a lot of people got from the release. And needless to say, a lot of people in the indie animation community and just in the animation community in general were pissed as because like, you could just do this, or you can give Dana Terrace like another season of Owl House, or have her own animated movie and do that. But obviously they got like regulations and rules, and they weren't going to do that anyway, right? So needless to say, Dana is no longer working with Disney anymore. And then while they make their announcement that they are releasing this new movie that is borderline copying what one of their artists who were one of their artist showrunners made on their platform, Dana Terrace comes out with her trailer called Knights of Guinevere. And Knights of Guinevere is about two workers at this dystopian amusement park planet that are responsible for keeping this amusement park running. One of them is an engineer who works in the mechanics and animatronic area of the planet. The other one is kind of on the lower levels where they're making manufactured products for this planet for people to enjoy, right? And the whole premise is that they find this android named Guinevere, who's like the mascot of this amusement park. This version of this Guinevere android isn't all the way together. There's something going on with her. She's not operating as normal. Like, she's a lot more sentient and aware and way more powerful than usual Guinevere bots are. And these bots are being made because the maker of this amusement park planet or amusement park land made these dolls or these android princesses to keep the company of his daughter, to ensure that his daughter is safe and I guess doesn't leave the planet or whatever, right? I watched the pilot for the first episode. Amazing. As someone who used to work at the Disney college program herself and majored in animation and dreamed to get to work as a Disney animator and get to work with Disney, right? Only for that dream not to happen because I changed majors and I was no longer working with Disney anymore. I think that Dana did such a great job with this series. I really hope the pilot takes off. I really hope that she has all the funding and backing to make more episodes, because it really does touch base on the problem with conglomerates like Disney, exploiting the resources of creatives who are genuinely passionate about the work that they do, taking their IPs, drilling them into the ground, soiling them until they're nothing but regurgitated, algorithmically friendly, hollow shells of what they were originally supposed to be. You know what I mean? Marvel is a good example. Marvel's a great example. Like, I felt like Marvel had so much heart in the beginning, and then towards the end, as we're in this phase, it just seems so formulaic. They did the same with other IPs as well. Star Wars is another example too. It just seems that anything that Disney sinks their teeth on, it ends up turning for the worse. Like, it ends up kind of losing itself and losing its luster. You know what I mean? If you're a DCOM kid, I would say High School Musical. Because, like, you know, let's not get it twisted. Kenny Ortega's set. Like, Kenny Ortega is living comfortably and lavish with that High School Musical money. But now they got Kenny Ortega out here doing, like, zombies versus vampires and... Hey, so Editing Exis here. I want to clarify something. So Kenny Ortega actually did not direct Zombies versus Vampires. That was the direction of Paul Hohen. But the point that I'm trying to make is that Disney found a cash cow in musical movies and musical TV shows like High School Musical and Hannah Montana, that they've kind of continued this legacy that, in my opinion, I feel like is very antiquated some 10, 15 years after the fact. So back to the video. I guess the zombies are dancing and the vampires are like, it's just like, I don't know if Disney knows how to just respect the integrity of a lot of, you know, creatives, artistry and work. You know what I mean? Some art, some series that artists create have a beginning, middle, and end. And some series are worth investing in the way that a lot of these artists want it to be invested into. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm so happy that Dana has, like, really shined a light on the problem with a conglomerate like Disney sinking its teeth into every little thing and wanting ownership over every little thing, every little piece of creativity, to the point where there's no opportunity for other artistry to be made. I even remember when we watched the third or the second Doctor Strange movie? Dang, I don't even remember. But we were watching some Doctor Strange movie, and around the time when Doctor Strange was coming out, it had bulldozed over into so many theaters, and it had taken up so many movie theaters because it was such a popular, like, Disney's behind it. Disney's already backing and giving a lot of money to these theaters to play these movies, that a lot of, like, smaller movies that came out that were genuinely, like, creative and thoughtful weren't even getting showed or weren't even getting played the weekends of a movie like Doctor Strange when it released. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like the capitalistic nature of Disney just defeats a lot of people. And I feel like as a creative, I've only worked at the Disney college program portion of Disney, so working on the parks. So I definitely relate to, like, Frankie's experience in the show of Knights of Guinevere. But I just feel like Disney does not, like, as far as, like, the creative standpoint, like, if you ever do get a chance to work professionally for that company or in the studios, it just feels like they don't make an effort to really respect the integrity of the artists and the messages that they're trying to say. And then it feels like if the artist doesn't like comply to their demands or wants more or wants to do like their own thing, or I'm thinking about Strange Magic when he wanted to do his own animated series out of his own studio, Lucasfilms, that was owned by Disney, and it flopped, right? Disney doesn't give you a chance to be great, I guess is what I'm trying to say, unless they get full control or full entity of the property, unless they are coming up with the original story, and then in that case it's not all that original, it's just them stealing the ideas of smaller creators and then feeding it back to us like it's this new original idea, but it just has the Disney logo slapped on it with Mickey Mouse there, like, haha, you know what I mean? So I think it's really great that Dana Terrace is able to do her own thing. I think it's great that Knights of Guinevere is getting like the traction from, you know, people like me, people who are animation enthusiasts. Hopefully other individuals watch Knights of Guinevere as well. I really love the art style. Anything that's capitalistic, set in like a dystopian future with androids, like I'm here for it, you know? One of my favorite comics that I like have been enamored with since I like discovered the artist, who the artist was, Alessandro Barbucci, Sky Doll. I don't know, I feel like Guinevere's design is similar to Alessandro Barbucci's main character in Sky Doll. And what's ironic is I think it was either Witch, I think it was Witch that he co-created with his wife Barbara Canepa, that really had like this Disney anime type of feeling that I don't even think got the justice it needed after like the series ended. You know what I mean? I don't know what happened to Witch now. Like, you can't buy the copies of the books new, you have to buy them used. And again, it's like another example of Disney just sinking their teeth into smaller creatives' ideas and visions and ruining it for them. Like, that's just what it feels like sometimes. And I'm glad that Dana is covering that and making a commentary of that in like this weird futuristic animatronic society based off of Disney. I think that's great. So looking forward to seeing new episodes, looking forward to seeing what the season will entail, what it will look like, if we get more episodes after the pilot, and what that's going to look like. But yeah, I think that Dana did such a great job with this anime, or with this series, and I really like the anime influences from it too. They feel genuine. They don't feel like, I don't know, like Marathon, like the people who created Totally Spies, just like a little cringe. They feel like very thoughtful, I guess is one way to say it. So yay, Dana. Looking forward to see what she can do. I'm gonna add a little pink here to see what that looks like. Okay, that's not terrible. Pattern is like black on the rim and then pink inside. So that's not awful, but I just want to make sure. And I also, like, I was thinking about doing like some dramatic eyeliner, but I actually don't, because it's gonna be a takeoff, and already the makeup is irritating me a little bit. So yes. Next topic, pop music. Yeah, I like to talk about music on here. I'm unashamed. Okay, I'm gonna give you a list of pop artists that I'm gonna need y'all to get into like tomorrow. Like, you need to just get into them, because we're going through a crisis, guys. We're going through a pop music crisis, all right? I am not okay with the mediocrity that has been co-signed, okay? Olivia Rodrigo is nowhere to be found. I don't know what that girl's doing. Hopefully she's making music. Sabrina Carpenter's last album was trash. I'm so sorry if you're a Sabrina Carpenter fan, but that wasn't her best work. She needed to go back to the vault. Wait a year or two to come out with something of quality. Chappell Roan is actually doing it right, and she said, no, girl, I'm coming back a year or two from now so I can ensure that I'm making good quality music, so that I'm not out here looking like Sabrina Carpenter with like, you know, extra deluxe version of Short and Sweet. Like, no, I'm gonna take my time, all right? She came out with the Subway single. It was great. That single's awesome, all right? But I'm in Chappell. We don't have her, okay? This is a perfect opportunity for y'all to take the time to learn about some newer pop artists that you might have not known, are either solo or who have actually been around, but are just like making music that's good and of quality, okay? All right, first person, hands down, always, is my girl Tinashe, okay? Go listen to Tinashe. Whatever you're into with Tate McRae, I promise you Tinashe's doing it 10 times better, because she's the blueprint. A lot of these new pop girlies that are out, they are following Tinashe's blueprint, okay? She is the one that these girls copy. She is so notorious that these folks out in Korea, Okay, those K-pop girl groups, study that heifer. I call her a heifer respectfully, okay? No, she's awesome. But like, they study her. They study her so well, they're doing her dance moves in the music video. You got HEWOYM over here, all right? Out here sounding like an AI version of 2 On, all right? Come on, get into Tinashe. She is the hot girl that you want. I feel like the industry is going to tell you that no, Tate McRae's right here. Tate McRae, go support Tate. No. Not to dunk on Tate too much, but like, I don't get Tate's brand as a pop artist. I don't get it. I don't. And then I don't understand her. And there's a lot of artists I listen to where I don't understand, right? Like, I used to love Young Thug, but then like, even though I never understood anything that he's saying, but like, I really don't understand anything that Tate McRae says in her songs. Okay. And I know she's trying to like cursive sing and stuff, but it's not working in her favor. Okay. Enunciate, because I don't understand. All right. But in the meantime, when she figures that out and figures out how to not be like a Caucasian version of Tinashe, y'all should just go listen to Tinashe, because she's just amazing. She's a great artist. Beautiful work. Beautiful. And I wouldn't even say beautiful gowns. Okay. I would just say like great artist, very good at what she does, very genuine in what she does, intentional. Go stream Tinashe. Okay. Yes. Next pop girl. All right. Jade Thirlwall from Little Mix. Okay, that was the UK's Fifth Harmony, except more legit and had their all the way together. Okay, Jade Thirlwall is from that girl group, and she has started her debut era. Okay, she's in her debut album or her solo era, right? And she has released her self-titled debut album, That Showbiz Baby, right? And I had my eye on her ever since I realized she sampled Angels of My Dreams. I will always hate you, love you, it's not fair. You know what I mean? I really like that song, and I really love that sample, but I didn't really start paying attention to her until she did the song Fantasy with the Carrie undertones in the music video and stuff. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I know what she's trying to be. She's trying to be a weird pop girl. She's trying to be a weirdo pop girl. And it works so effortlessly for her because she has so much to pull from. Why? Because she's been in this industry before. She has released an album. Not only has she released her debut album, right? But she's also released a visual album to go coexist with the debut album. I would definitely give that a watch because it kind of puts into perspective, I guess, her mindset of what she's going through as she's navigating the music space, right? And navigating her life as a entertainer. Okay. And it's very weird. It's very different. It pulls from stuff like Charlie XCX, like Glitch, and she has like the Glitch t-shirt. It pulls like some inspiration from modern pop artists, right? But it feels very authentic. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel performative, okay? It feels like she is trying to get into her weird girl Lady Gaga bag, and she is paying attention, and she has a lot to pull from because she's been here before. She's been in this industry before. She knows what it's like. She knows what it takes, okay? So I love that for her. I definitely want to buy her vinyl. She is doing a wonderful job, okay? Definitely recommend 10 across the board. That album was great. Just like a well done pop album, great debut album. Love the way she's doing like certain inflections with her voice. I just think that you should go listen to Jade Thirlwall's That Showbiz Baby if you're really trying to listen to a quality pop album. All right, next girl, Zara Larsson. Okay, all right. Now, she's been out for a minute, but she has dropped her album Midnight Sun today, actually. Yeah, I gave it a listen. It was consistently good, all right? It wasn't like the best thing ever, but for a debut album, it was good, and it was good quality, and it was effort. And I feel like if we could create space for someone like a Sabrina Carpenter, then maybe we can create space for someone like a Zara Larsson. The problem is that I see with Zara Larsson is that she's too talented, and that's not her fault. That's not her fault. That's y'all's fault, okay? Because you guys won't recognize the talent that she has because you're too busy, as I said before, looking for relatable pop artists. You're looking for pop artists that are just like you. You're looking for pop artists where you too can sing the music easily if you wanted to, drunkenly on a Tuesday karaoke night, right? I'm here to tell you, you don't need that all the time. Sometimes what you actually need, what you really, really need is someone of talent, someone who is exceptionally good. Sometimes you need a Beyonce to let you know how awesome humanity can be, how it looks like when someone really pushes their artistry. You do. Sometimes you need a Rihanna to show you what it looks like to be a well thought out, well evolved pop star where you're giving healthy eras every single time. Sometimes you need a Doja Cat that makes hit singles, hit music, that just knows music really well and knows how to catch the ear of her audience. Sometimes you need a Doechii to let you know that she's not new to this, she's true to this, okay? And she will out rap you if she has to. Sometimes you need that, okay? Sometimes you need to understand that not everyone is supposed to be in your orbit to be relatable, okay? You need to understand that not everyone is just supposed to be out here and relatable for you to consume and to enjoy, okay? Invest in talent, all right? Zara Larsson's talented. Like I said, if you created space for Sabrina Carpenter, you absolutely can create space for this woman, all right? All right? I think what I like about her the most is that she takes a lot of inspiration from Beyonce, but she does so in a way where it's not copying. She does so in a way that is very intentional and that leans into her strengths as a singer. Her tone and sound is very, very unique. I've never seen any tone or sound like that before. And her marketing is very well done. Her tapping into that Euro pop sound, chef's kiss. After her symphony soundbite took off on TikTok, chef's kiss. Perfect in her alley. I know that people love her overseas, like in the UK and stuff, in Europe and stuff, but I want her to take off here. She deserves it. She definitely gives Beyonce's Scandinavian daughter, like she does. She's very talented, and her album Midnight Sun wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I would like to see her do stuff with Pink Pantheress, because I think they have like the sound that Zara's getting into is like the same aesthetic as Pink Pantheress. But yeah, y'all need to go support my girl Zara. Go stream Midnight Sun. Stream the song, stream the album. Summer isn't over yet, bitch. And then finally, last artist. Okay, let me put this eyelash on first. These eyelashes are hard because they're very flimsy. Like, they're supposed to look like your natural lash, so they're very flimsy. Okay, I'm gonna do my lashes off camera and then I'll come back. So, I didn't like that. Okay, maybe I'll go over here then. Maybe it's meant to be over here. Okay, we got the first eye down, but it's not sticking all the way. I gotta charge my phone, so I'll be right back. Okay. All right, I have a problem with this lash because it's not sticking, but I'm doing my best here. But I love how natural these lashes look. They are the Ardell Naked lashes, 421. They look very natural, which is what I'm looking for. It's very difficult for me to grow my natural lashes, probably because I have very thin hair, so it never looks that full anyway. So anything that can make me look like I have a natural lash, I'm here for. So, okay. Ow, stabbed myself. This is another lash where it's good far away. It's not good up close, but that's okay. I actually didn't put any eyeliner on. Normally I put eyeliner on for my lashes so that they look like they're blended in, but this time around I didn't. Ooh, this lash isn't good. I have to rip it off. It's not well done. All right, hold on. Let's try again. Okay, that works. The best I can for now. Not the greatest lash application, but it gets the job done. Okay. Last pop artist that I want to put on. Indie pop artist, Jay Stevens. I think she's indie. She's just smaller, but Jay Stevens is great. If you like the Y2K sound, the Y2K Neptunes, Pharrell Williams sound, I feel like she is like the embodiment of that in a pop star. A lot of her music sounds like early 2000s Pharrell, Neptunes type of energy. Very like dancey, very poppy. And I don't know, she just has a really good like earworm type of sounding music where it's just very catchy. The production is really good. And you know, we've been asking for a black pop girly and now we got one. She's right there between her and Tinashe. They're right there. Go support the both of them, okay? And then actually, if you're going to support like non-POCs, you know, you got Zara Larsson right there, who is talent, okay? Who is talent, who is it, all right? Stop supporting relatability, okay? That's why we're in the situation we're in, okay? Same, all right? Okay, and then last topic, very, very last topic that I'll probably spend a significant amount of time talking about because lo and behold, we have yet again reached the 2.5 hour mark. I spent way too much time talking about AI than I wanted to, okay? It has come to my attention that a bunch of TikTok creators believe that the rapture was supposed to happen this September or September 23rd or 24th or something. A lot of TikTok creators, I guess some guy out in Africa said that he saw a vision that the rapture would occur and that the trumpets would blare, like the Mormon trumpets would blare on September 23rd, I guess, or 24th, needless to say, and that people would be taken up to the sky to go be with Jesus, to go be with the Lord. To be with the Lord, our Savior, okay? I say this for the last because this is a pretty sensitive topic. So trigger warning, we're going to be talking about faith and religious psychosis. And, you know, if that stuff makes you uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form, feel free to skip off. But just know this is my opinion, so I would ask for you to respect it, okay? So, like I said, TikTok creator went online and said that he had a vision that the rapture was supposed to happen September 23rd and that people would be taken up to glory to go be with Jesus up in heaven with God, and you know, and then those that would be left behind would be the ones that were the sinners who would have to, you know, work it out, right? This was a horror series, I think like a Christian horror series called Left Behind. Y'all remember that? I read a couple books from that. It was kind of bleak. It made me really uncomfortable as a kid. But then a better version of that like really like shined light on like people disappearing and where they went, right? Is The Leftovers, an HBO series, right? That series was really, really, really good because it has like this similar rapture incident that happens in that universe, but it has nothing to do with whether people were good or bad. It has everything to do with like, you know, like this weird sci-fi moment happened where some people just went missing, right? Out of the blue. Babies went missing, people went missing, awful people went missing, good people went missing. Like, this is just a thing that happened. It was a pretty good series. It got very weird towards the end of the season, but like, you know, the idea of the rapture hasn't been a new phenomenon, isn't a new concept, and we've seen it in media before. However, I just want to say as like a disclaimer that if you were one of the people who believe that you were going to go to be taken up to glory this past September, like you truly believe that, you need to get some help. Respectfully, I'm not being disrespectful because that's some signs of like some serious religious psychosis. I'm so glad we're having these conversations on the internet now, because the amount, like me growing up in proximity to the church, I wouldn't say I was like necessarily a church kid, but like when times were rough, my mom would like put me in church. And then towards my teen years, I was going to church a lot. So that, like, you know, I'm saved again. I'm a born again Christian. You know, I've changed for the better. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. All that, right? Like that type of stuff didn't have much of an explanation when I was a kid. That was just like, you know, they're going to start their walk with the Lord. They're saved. Leave them alone. Stop being critical. And something I realize now is that while we're seeing like Christo-fascism happen in real time, where we are literally out here co-signing legitimate dictators in the name of Jesus, right? Which is not what Jesus or God would have wanted. But I'm so glad people are just like kind of talking, you know, like agnostics, atheists are kind of talking about how this is, and how borderline Christianity as a system and as a religion has really negatively impacted a lot of people in their lives. And again, this is just my opinion, but I do feel like Christianity, and I've said this before, is a colonizing religion that is put in place to control marginalized people and women and endorse the toxic behaviors of like war, crime, and violence that, you know, a lot of what the patriarchy has been preaching to us. I really do, and has been drilling in our heads. I genuinely do believe this. Full transparency here, it's getting really, really hard to believe in the construct of Christianity right now for me, okay? I would argue I might be going through a deconstruction arc. I might, but I still haven't done the reading I need to know for sure whether or not I choose to still identify as a Christian. But I know for now it's getting very hard for me to choose to identify that way because of all the that's going on, because of a lot of the things that evangelicals have been co-signing, and just from knowing how toxic Christianity could be when it comes to manipulating and controlling people. And, you know, it sucks that I have to say it that way, but that's just what it feels like from time to time, is that it's been used to control, manipulate. Prosperity gospel has been used to take people's money and feed it to a pastor that you treat like a literal idol over Jesus or God themselves, right? And then looking like at the way this world has like functioned, it's very, very hard, and how this world evolves, even like in evolution. It's very hard for me to believe that evolution doesn't exist. And I know a lot of evangelists, a lot of Pentecostals want to believe that evolution doesn't exist, that Adam and Eve is a canonical event. I don't think it is. And it was very difficult for me growing up, having to like be forced to believe that like this is what, like, you know, Adam and Eve existed, and, you know, everything in the Bible needs to be said as fact, but then like it starts to contradict itself. Like, it was very difficult for me. Okay, so now I feel like the purples aren't matching. Like, my lipstick doesn't match with my makeup. But it was just very hard for me to, you know, get on board with that. Just knowing what we know with science, but also just in my gut, knowing that Christianity has like high key done a lot of harm. And I think this is a prime example of it, where people are literally willing to believe someone online that the rapture is happening instead of, you know, seeking help or practicing their faith on their own. I don't know. It's just very unfortunate. I think what really made me like side eye the constructs of Christianity and how it's been used to incite violence is especially what's going on with in Palestine. I know I've been very silent on that because I was still trying to figure out how I felt about the situation, like what was going on in Israel. And what I mean by that is, so during the time of when Israel invaded Palestine and, you know, kind of terrorized the people there, terrorized the women, the children, the men there, I wasn't paying attention to like what was going on exactly, like what they were filming and what they were recording over there. One thing I want to call out is that I had no idea that they were actually going over there and like Israel was going over there and filming them terrorizing these people, literally like unaliving, harming these people, taking them out of their homes, bombing them. I did not know that. And to this day, I have yet to see like any footage of what was going on in Palestine that was posted on Twitter or on the dark web. I think it is incredibly cruel that someone like Israel would do something like that, but I think it is even crueler that there is propaganda out there convincing you that what they are doing is okay in the name of Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior. Okay, like that's not okay. I don't think Jesus wants us to have a bunch of wars, and using the Bible as reference is just not okay, because using a book that has been reinterpreted and rewritten with certain scriptures pulled out for X, Y, and Z, right, to push whatever narrative is not going to prove to me why we should co-sign the behaviors of what's going on in Israel. I just don't think it's fair. I don't. And I can no longer co-sign it. I'm not in support of what Israel is doing. I'm especially not in support of them, you know, making us go and fight their wars. Like I'm not gonna do that. But I think more importantly, everything that's been happening in Palestine with Israel, I've just kind of realized that a lot of people are going through some sort of spiritual psychosis, I guess, and are just co-signing behaviors that we otherwise would see as awful. And they're doing it in the name of Christianity. And unfortunately, you know, finding out, trying to convince people that the rapture is happening and scamming them out of a buttload of money because they think they're going to be left behind, or they're going to be the ones taken up and everyone else is going to be left behind, is a part of it. I've said this before, but I think we are in times where people are looking for answers to their questions. I think the pandemic did something interesting to American citizens where we stopped leaning on the trust of our leaders, not really the government, but just the leaders that we idolized and looked up to. We wanted to find answers to our questions from outside sources. Some of us chose independent media, some of us chose faith in God and Christ, whatever that might be. But at the end of the day, I just feel like people are looking for answers in the wrong places, and I think that we need to focus on being a lot more grounded on like what we feel is true, and instead of looking at outside sources. Even if you are of religion, if you practice religion, if you have any faith whatsoever, I would be very wary of what people tell you online, especially if you're a Christian, because a lot of people like to scam the hell out of Christians. A lot of Christian influencers are over here running game on y'all, selling vials of holy water for $40 a pop and starting debates with non-Christians in order to get your traction from you, okay? In order to get engagement from you, okay? Like, I don't know. I would just protect your peace if you're a practicing Christian and if you're on the internet, because it doesn't seem worth it. It seems like a lot of people are just grifters and fake, and they're just leaning onto a new brand, like kind of like B. Simone. They know that, you know, y'all are kind of low-key gullible, will welcome anyone who says that they're a born-again savior. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'd just be aware of that. I would. All right, so I'm gonna put my wig on and then finish the rest of this look. But yeah, it's just very unfortunate that people actually believe the rapture happened and then it doesn't happen. And so now you kind of just have to sit with the fact that you spent a significant amount of your days worrying and overreacting for things that didn't exist, only for things that you believed in your heart of hearts existed because someone on the internet told you to, only for them not to, and you have to like answer to whatever happens to you in the real world or after the rapture. Trying my best not to offend people and what their beliefs are. I'm just being honest on like my thoughts of what I've noticed. A lot of people are looking for explanations to things that are unexplained, and sometimes they're worth not being explained to, you know, and you just kind of have to live with it. However, yeah, I just wish people wouldn't take advantage of certain faith groups in the way that they do. And I don't know, I'm just not really a fan of the antics that Christians have been up to in the past couple hundred years, thousands of years, honestly, not even like in the past couple years. But in America, with the amount of, you know, Christofascism that we have seen, it's just gotten very, very dangerous. And I'm very worried, especially for how we are operating and the agenda that they're trying to co-sign there. But that's just my opinion on it. Be careful, guys. Be careful. And I feel especially bad for the kids who are subjected to the spiritual psychosis that their family goes through, you know, because who knows what their family or family members have like put them through if they genuinely believe the rapture, you know? Like, it's just very, very, very worrisome. But okay, this is the final look. This is the final look. I put my wig on. I didn't take my hair out because I just didn't really feel like doing that today. But I do like the way my hair looks right now. I like the messy look. I wear this wig a lot on streaming. I might need a new wig soon though. I might need a new wig. But it hasn't tangled too much at the back yet, so that's always good. I also really like the fullness that it gives. So yeah, this is the final look. That's all the stuff I have on my mind for this week. Let me know what you have on your mind for this week as well. And we can have a chat in the comments. Yeah, we can have a chat in the comments. I'm not really tired. I'm actually hungry. I ate late today. So I'm gonna go. Oh no, did I take color off? I hope not. But I'm gonna go get myself some food. And I'm gonna end this series or this episode today with telling you all not to forget to drink water, okay? And I will see you guys next time, all right? Bye, guys. Love you.